Hi, everybody. This is Jennifer from Nourishing Journey, and I am the owner. And I want to introduce you today to Karan, who just joined us in October of 2022. Karan, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Hi, everybody. Well, I'm Karen, and oh boy, what do I do? Uh, I do healing. That's the best way for me to put it. I do it and I share what I do and what I learn.
Well, how did you get into the work that you do? Tell us a bit about your story.
Well, I kind of have to go back a pretty long way. I was 17. I was on my way to becoming a not starving artist and to go to art school. I had no interest in healthcare whatsoever. And then my father got pancreatic cancer pretty suddenly, and he died about 4 months, actually 2 weeks after the official diagnosis. So I did go to art school, but I had a lot of trauma around that because I had just healed my relationship with my father a year prior. So that whole experience gave me a lot of insight into how trauma plays into our physical illness later in life. It may not set in right away. And I couldn't let go of my curiosity about how did this man who was such a dynamo to me become that sick that rapidly and die within months. And so I decided that I was going to go to nursing school. And then from there, I would go to medical school. And so that led me on a very circuitous journey of here's this system. This is great. I believe all the things. Art, drugs, wonderful. Surgery is amazing. So I tried all the specialties. And, if anybody knows anything about nursing, if you're a good nurse, you burn yourself out pretty quickly. You work a lot of hours, it's hard work, it's a lot of stress. And so when I got to my critical mass, I had been injured on the job pretty severely, requiring a few surgeries. So the process of going through that and dealing with the pain led me to, I think what happened is that my body just hit a critical mass. It could no longer hold its own. And I developed Lyme disease during that time. I don't think I got the tip bite during that time. And so since then, I've grown to believe that, Lyme disease is an opportunistic infection. And that for the most part, my whole journey from the beginning of that trauma to becoming so disabled that I was basically bedbound for years was that our medical system is so focused on germ theory that nobody was teaching me about the terrain and nobody was teaching me how I was actually making choices and doing things to my body that led me to the depth of illness that I went to. I still may have had some things, but once, I call it a toxin bucket. And once my toxin bucket was overflowing,
Yeah.
was just nothing I could do except ride it out and have to learn a new way of doing things.
Well, tell us a bit about some of your certifications and the trainings that you've had to help yourself heal and to learn more about what is true healing.
Well, I started off, and this actually happened like after I got injured, but I started off looking into a lot of energetic specialties, modalities, and got some certifications. But for me, it just there still was something more. I have a fascination with the biochemistry of the body and how the body actually works, like what's happening. I think these bodies are so wise and so brilliant and so fascinating, and they compensate for so much damage that we do to them until they can't compensate anymore. So, without getting into too much detail, um, after my period of being so sick, I started developing dental issues and losing teeth. Basically, I lost 11 teeth.
Mm.
And right before I had 11 root canals. And right before that, I had met a chiropractor who introduced me to a company. And within that company was a man named Dr. Daniel Pompa. And I started listening to what he was saying. And he talked a lot about the cell and how basically the cell is the root cause of disease or health. And so when I heard that, it piqued my interest, and I decided to do what would eventually become the TCD program that I am now certified in. But a decade ago, I actually just took the products and I did the diet. It wasn't an extreme diet, but it was a lot of lifestyle things that I learned about through him. And I had my 11 root canal teeth extracted, and those are a source of endogenous biotoxins from organisms that live in these teeth because they don't have a blood supply. So your immune system can't take care of them. And so when I did this, I got my health back very rapidly after doing this. I had been walking with a walker and a cane. I couldn't memorize more than 3 digits at a time. I couldn't run my own finances. I mean, I really was in not good shape in terms of being functional. And about 12 weeks later, I was working for the dentist who extracted those teeth. So I spent 3.5 years and almost an apprenticeship like you know, period of time working with him. And I learned everything about non-toxic dentistry. And then I began to work with people in a support group. And I call myself an oral systemic consultant because there is no certification. There is nothing, nowhere you can go to school to really learn this. And so I'm an oral systemic consultant. I help people who have dental issues, who want to understand how to restore their mouth in the least toxic way possible to optimal. So they don't have to continue going to dentists over and over for the same problem on the same tooth.
And yeah, it sounds like you've been through the depths of it. You really understand what a lot of people have been through. So that's,
yeah, I mean, but that's how I do life. I mean, one of the other things I do is human design. I'm a human design guide. And this was part of my whole sort of body, mind, spirit way of addressing what was going on with me. Learning to deal with the body through the dental issues and the detoxification with the detoxification program. And then I moved into the bioresonance because I understand that we are also frequency, and the frequency in the body is always changing, and we get hit with lots of imbalances. And when the body's healthy, we can deal with those. But when not, we start to step down those energies into a physical manifestation of symptoms. So I went into that, and I do work with remote bioresonance. And I really try to get people who are interested in that to have their own scanner at home so they can use it every day, because there's so many things you can do with it at home that can save you a lot of time, energy, and money in terms of doctor's visits for things that may not need a doctor's visit. And then the human design, that was a way of me starting to deal with my trauma. I had been through years of cognitive behavioral therapy, various things with therapists. And for me, probably as a result of my own stubbornness and resistance, I just didn't have the experience, because I was looking for them to tell me what would heal me. I wasn't really looking to dive into the abyss of myself. And so the human design is just a way of looking at really what your individual unique design is and what your activations are. And what's funny is my only channel out of a lot of activations you could have with channels is the channel of struggle. And
oh, geez.
I was like, well, that's not fair. But I've come now to appreciate it, because I see that me struggling through all these things has given me a real insider perspective of what people go through when they are ill, but they often don't show other people. You know, we tend to hide things when we're at home and we feel really bad, but when we're with other people, most people don't truly show the depth of what they're dealing with. And I say, if, you know, somebody in the home is sick, the whole family is sick. You know, so it's really important to me to have been able to have these experiences, have walked through it. I get to the other side. I've seen what is worth struggling with when I'm sick and what isn't. Sometimes we struggle with things we don't need to struggle with while we're sick too.
Very true. Yeah.
Really helpful to me to combine my personal experience of illness and the healing journey with both my academic nursing knowledge and then the certifications and the things that I have we all do this when we're in healing. We pull from various things and learn to use them. Did that answer your question?
It's perfect. And it's funny, we have so much in common with so many things. And that's why I think I love you so much.
Oh, I love you too.
Well, tell me who your ideal client is. Like who's the perfect person to come to you where you really feel like you could help?
Well, that's an easy one. I know it sounds kind of cliche to say I can help anyone,
Yeah.
and there are some people that are not appropriate, but I do so many varied things that almost anyone who comes to me, I have something that I can offer them. Now, there are times that the detox program may not be right for somebody, depending on what's going on with them. Um, but within that detox, I also run a gut program where we can wipe and reseed the gut. And who has ever eaten an American diet doesn't need that. So I don't work generally. I don't work with children. If a physician is someone who follows that child and approves, I will work with someone that's 12 or older, sometimes a little bit younger. And then if if that I think an ideal person is a mommy who wants to get pregnant, because I think getting those toxins out of the body prior to getting pregnant, because we know that babies are born in the US with over 272 known toxins in cord blood. And so we know that babies are born with their bucket already being filled. And we're seeing younger and younger and younger people with these chronic illnesses that we used to attribute to aging. So I think before pregnancy, it would be a great idea to do a detox and even a gut reset, because the biome of the mom is passed on to that baby.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
And
think
if I'm,
that's
I'm
fabulous.
sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, I think that's fabulous. What an excellent idea.
Yeah, and I think, once a mom is pregnant, there are some practitioners who will work with pregnant mommies, but that's not me. I won't do that. But with a breastfeeding mom, if that mom is working with a physician and the physician approves, I can put them on a couple of the phases. I can't do the really deep detox while a mom is
Yeah.
breastfeeding, but I can do the cellular repair and opening up the detox pathways. And just that alone can be very helpful. And then we can start to detox some of the downstream stuff that's already circulating, that the baby's going to be exposed to in breast milk anyway. We just don't want to pull those deeper toxins that are sitting in the fat tissue and the nervous tissue, because there can be a lot of toxins sitting in there that can make you really sick if you
Yeah,
don't properly.
absolutely. Well, if there was anything you could say to your current and future clients, what would you say that would be really inspirational for them to hear?
Mm. Well, I mean, it's interesting. I posted something on Facebook last night, and I was shocked. I got about 6 people who contacted me privately and said, I want to know more. And all I did was I talked about the fact that, you have a mitochondria in your cell, and sometimes it's not stress, sometimes it's not fatigue, and sometimes it's not adrenal exhaustion. Sometimes it's mitochondrial dysfunction in the cell. And if you can restore the ATP and get that power station of the cell properly working so that the biochemistry is working, then a lot of these symptoms that show up and present as a condition will resolve.
Yeah.
So what's inspirational is that I had, I mean, this is kind of embarrassing to admit, but there were years that I had spent over $3,000 on supplements, just supplements and herbs. And I would always say, well, I don't really know. I mean, I think it's helping. And they did, because they were getting at a lot of the downstream toxins, and I would temporarily feel better, but it would be like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back sometimes. And so, what happened for me is once I started doing the detox, my body could start to take over, and I didn't have to keep doing so much because what I was actually doing was I had more toxins coming in than I had going out.
Yeah.
So I was having to constantly chase those through liver cleanses and lymph flushes and, parasite, cleanses, things like that. But once you fix the terrain, you make the body inhospitable to things like mold and Lyme and parasites and all of these non-beneficial organisms. And so the idea to me is if you can fix the terrain, you don't have to keep doing these things that are so expensive. So what's inspirational to me is watching a client come in and watching, them do their toxicity testing that I do, and they've got a score of, over 100, which is more than double the threshold for usually when symptoms appear with toxicity. And then watching them just go into the prep phase, and which is the repair phase, and start to share with me, my anxiety is better, I'm sleeping better, I haven't been able to do this in years, and sometimes I see this in 3 or 4 weeks. Now, I'm not saying that everybody has that experience in 3 or 4 weeks, because we're all different and we have various toxins coming in all the time. But one of the things we do is help them figure out, well, what are your exposures? What are the sources that you can remove? And sometimes it's a lot more than people think. So I think that, just knowing that there may be a way to alleviate the symptoms without having to take pharmaceuticals or having to have $2,000 worth of supplements coming into your house every month, indefinitely. That's pretty inspirational to me.
Well, the thing is when we get out of the body's way, the body can heal, right? So that's basically what you're doing. You're helping people get the blocks to their body healing out of the way so that
Yeah.
their bodies can function the way they were meant to. And so I just think it's beautiful and it's so needed in this world. So thank you
Well,
so much for joining us at Nourishing Journey. I couldn't be
oh
more
my
thrilled.
gosh.
And I'm
I'm so
looking
excited.
I'm
Gosh,
looking
I
forward
can't,
to
I keep
everything.
trying to remember when we met. Like um I know that we started the integrative doctors group there in 2017 at Nourishing Journey. But it's just been fun because I didn't even know, at the time I lived 3 miles from Nourishing Journey at the most, and I didn't even know it was there. And when I found it, I'm like, oh my gosh. So it's been this amazing place for years now, that if I'm having a rough day, I would just run in and get a golden milk or something, a smoothie, and just sit there because the energy is so great. And then I don't know. And then I end up working with you guys, and I'm just really over the moon, giddy, excited. And I sound crazy right now, but
That's right. We're really excited too. And I know we have a lot of great things planned. And I look forward to bringing them forth so we can help more people.
well, thanks for having me. I'm really excited about what we can all do together.
All right. All right, guys. Well, if you want to make an appointment with Karan or to see if she can help, she is an excellent practitioner and coach, and she can really take you far. So if you want to reach out to her, that this would be the right time to do it. And just check it out. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye bye.